Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. It is the last day that you will be seeing this. It is the last day of 2024. I am not as excited about the new year as I normally am for reasons that are probably obvious, but I am excited for my reading for 2025, and I will do a post. Probably, I don't know if I'm going to I think I will probably combine it with my December wrap up, but where I'll go over my 2024 goals and tell you how I did. But I wanted to do just a video of my 2025 goals, which I have right here on, I hope that doesn't knock things over. I have it right here on my iPad. So last year, I went on this whole thing where I said, I really want to make my life easier. I want to make my reading less complicated. And then I came up with 10 goals. Which was ridiculous. One of them I had to abandon because I made the goal so complicated that I didn't even know how to complete it. It was ridiculous. So this year I am proud to say that I only have 5 goals, but I do have 3 more intentions, and I will get to that. So let me go through the 5 goals. The first one is the same goal I had last year and failed miserably. And that is to end the year with at least one less book on my TBR, my owned TBR, than I started with, as I have said, failed miserably in 2024. But I am back with mindful book buying, which didn't really happen in November and December. Again, reasons that are obvious. And December is just a weird book month anyway for bringing books in. When you see my haul, you'll see what I mean, but I had a lot of books that I purchased because I had plans to read them in 2024 they were actual planned books. And then gifts, I don't know what my gifts are going to be yet, but we'll see. So December is kind of a weird month anyway, but November was out of control because it was called retail therapy and I needed it, and that's okay. But besides that, about halfway through the year, I really tried to work on mindful book buying. And so I have that to carry me forward into 2025. So I feel more confident about this goal, at least right now, than what my experience with last year should probably lead me to feel, but there you go. So end the year with at least one less book than I started with. And as of today, so I'm filming this on December 20th. I think I have 892 books on that list. I don't know, but I have some books that I'm finishing, so we'll see. I'll do an update. Maybe when you see my December/2024 update, I will tell you what that number is, so we'll know. So the second of my goals, and I don't know if I made this or not, because it was a goal I had last year, and I don't know if I made this goal, and it was no more than 50% of my books from US authors. The reason I don't know is because as of today, right now, with the books I've read, I think I'm at like 49.9%, and I still have books to read. So I don't know if I'm going to stay under that 50% number, but it was right there. Enough so that I want to repeat it again, just as it is. I think that's probably fair. I think that's a fair amount to say, look, only half of the reading I should be from my own country. So yeah, I think that's a fair goal to have anyway. The next one's another repeat, and this is one that I didn't come as close to. I didn't make it. I didn't completely miss it like I did the number of books on my TBR, but I also feel like if I were a little more intentional, I could have made this goal. So I'm keeping it at the same place it was for 2024. And that's at least 30% of my books from Own Voices authors. I think last I checked, I was at like 28%. So I'm not far off. But it's a little bit frustrating because that's a goal I should have been able to make if I had been more intentional. I do also, because what's going on in the world, just want to be sure that I'm reading more diversely. So yeah, there you go. I want to try to make that same goal in 2025 because I don't think I make it this goal this year. So the goal that I had to give up last year because it was too complicated was about reading Book of the Month books. I am a Book of the Month. I have been a member of Book of the Month since they rebooted. So what was that? 2016, I don't know. That's when I started. And I have a backlist of books to read. And so I made this really complicated way, and then it was undoable because I couldn't even figure out how to how to actually figure out if I'd completed the goal. So I decided to make it easy for me this year. Book of the Month has its own little challenge where you read books and you get different categories and then you win a prize. I did not make it this year, which kind of just like generally annoyed me because it meant I wasn't reading my books as I should. But my goal for 2025 is just to make that, complete that challenge. The one thing about that challenge is books that I got before 2024 won't count towards that challenge. It's only books for the current year and the previous year. That's the way, unless they change it. That's the way it has been set up in years past. So, yes, it's not every Book of the Month book that I read is going to be able to count for that, but whatever. I still want to complete that challenge, and I'll get a little bit more into that with intentions. And then my final one is another challenge that I want to complete. And I'm making this a goal and not an intention because I actually sign up for a lot of StoryGraph challenges. As I've said, and I'll link it down below, I have my own. Oh, my oven's preheated. I got to make cookies today. Ben Reads Good has one. There are some StoryGraph ones that I do. I do a lot of one, but there's one that I do every year and I never, ever complete it. I just don't. And again, like Own Voices, I could if I were more intentional about it. And this is one that StoryGraph itself puts out, and it's called StoryGraph Reads the World. And it's just 10 books, 10 or 12, I think it's 10, where they choose, each year they choose 10 or 12 different nations, and you read a book from those nations. And it's up to you to decide, do you want to do it a book that's set there or a book where the author is from there, however you personally want to interpret it. I personally wanted an author from those nations. So one of the nations, so the good thing about this, and I made this as a goal before I saw the nations that were chosen for this year, because the nations for this year are actually pretty easy. I should have checked that and let you know what they are, but you can go check it out yourself. I'll put a link to that challenge as well. But I know like Australia is one of them, and they're countries I could probably pretty easily find books to. And sometimes they're like, Eswatini. Like, what? I don't think I can find a book from Eswatini. I don't think Eswatini is one of the books this year, which I always thought was pronounced something else, but I've heard it as Eswatini, so I don't know. Side note. But our goal is just to finish that one. And I do think of all the years I've done it, this is the one that should be easiest for me to complete. So those are my 5 goals for 2025. I won't, the 2 of the completing the challenges, I suppose I could mark completed before the end of the year, but the first 3 I have to wait until the end of the year to make sure I do them. But that's good because it keeps me on track for the year, or supposedly, the 3 that go through the year are the ones that at least 2 of them I didn't meet 2024. So there you go. So I have 3 intentions. And the first one is going to kind of go with the Book of the Month one. And this is to read at least one backlist Book of the Month book a month. So as I said, that would include, no, so I shouldn't say backlist. I should just say Book of the Month book. That could include one that counts towards the Book of the Month challenge, or it could be one that is old enough that it doesn't. But I do need to chip away at that pile. So at least one Book of the Month book a month. So there's that. And the reason these are intentions, I suppose that one could have been a goal, but they're kind of hard to, they're not as concrete. But the next one is to be more active on Instagram and on the YouTube community tab. I sometimes forget those things exist, and I need to be more active on them. If you follow me, my husband's now making stuff, you'll hear rustling. If you follow me on Bookstagram, Web of Stories, not a Web of Stories, but Web of Stories, you can see lately, I went through a period lately where I was more active, and then it kind of died off because holiday stress. But I do want to, share the books. I think a way I could do it is any book that I feel is recommended, highly recommended, or 5-star. Side note on that one. I want to share. I don't like sharing books that didn't work for me. I don't want to just put that out there. I know that there's value in that, and I do appreciate that. And if people follow me on Goodreads or StoryGraph, they will see my ratings on that. But as far as Bookstagram. I just want to put out books that I would recommend. But maybe, try to do all the books that fall into that category. The side note of that, I have said in the past, my whole thing with ratings and how they do everything and don't pay attention to them. And I've tried grade levels and all these different things. And then recently I switched it so if my categories are, when I do my wrap-ups, 5-star books, which are all-time favorites, highly recommended books, so books I would recommend to only some people, or I would recommend with caveats, not recommended, and not recommended. Those are my categories. So I have decided to simplify my ratings, because both in my tracking spreadsheet and Goodreads and StoryGraph, you do have to do star ratings. I mean, that's the way they're set up. So I've simplified them. I'm not doing half stars or quarter stars, just straight off. 5 stars are 5 stars. If I give a book a 5-star rating, it's a 5-star book. 4 stars, highly recommended. 3 stars, recommended. 2 stars, not recommended. 1 star, why didn't I DNF this? So I'm really simplifying that. So if you follow me on on Instagram or StoryGraph and you see my ratings, that's like where they're going to fall, sort of. Because sometimes in the recommended, highly recommended things, they could shuffle a little bit. But anyway, a side note. So I do want to be more active on Bookstagram and the YouTube community tab. And then the other thing, and I kept meaning to do this year, and I just didn't get to it. So I'm putting it out there. And a number of people do this. I know that Becca at Read Becca does it. She's the one that it always kind of sticks in my head that she does it, and it kind of inspired me to do it, is once a month, probably in my weekly wrap up, or I don't know, maybe in my monthly wrap up, one of those. I want to share a couple of videos that other people had done during the month that I think are worth sharing, to kind of get you to, to give people's ideas of other videos to watch, to kind of share the love. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that as well. That's an intention. So there you go. Those are my goals and intentions for 2025. You will be seeing this on New Year's Eve. And yeah, so happy New Year's Eve, happy New Year. And let's have a great reading year in 2025, because it might not be great otherwise. Sorry, I can't not say it. It is just the truth. Anyway, it's the world we live in. Anyway, like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.